Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers report, we're going to set the table for this Week 6 matchup for the Niners as they hit the road to take on the Cleveland Browns. Going to be an abnormal start time for the Niners considering they're always a primetime draw, and of course they play on the West Coast. So a lot of these games happen in the late afternoon window on the East Coast. But for those of you on the West Coast, this game starting bright and early, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Niners going into this matchup undefeated, looking to go to 6-0, 8.5-point favorites with the over-under set at 45. Speaking of this game, we'll be live for it bright and early. Wake up with us. Shoot, we might have to get some mimosas poured and start the party early. We'll be live with an hour pregame show beginning 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Key storylines going into this matchup for both San Francisco and Cleveland. The biggest one for the Browns, are they going to be without their starting quarterback, who they gave the richest contract to for all quarterbacks in the history of the league last year when they traded for him, fully guaranteed in Deshaun Watson. Banged up, shoulder injury, more on him in a moment. Joe Bitonio, also one of their top offensive linemen, is hurt. He's banged up with a couple of different injuries. He might not be able to go, even though he hasn't missed a game in several years, as we outlined earlier this week. Randy Gregory, after the Niners traded for him last Friday, will make his debut. I'm chalking up a sack for him. And San Francisco, looking for 16 straight regular season wins. That would be a new mark in franchise history. They have not lost a regular season game since they played the Chiefs last year, October 23rd of 2022. Circling back to point number one in Deshaun Watson, he continues to deal with a rotator cuff contusion. That is the back portion of your shoulder, which is really important for arm strength and just delivering the football. When pitchers in baseball tear that, it's honestly a worse injury sometimes as compared to Tommy John surgery. He missed week 4 against the Baltimore Ravens at home prior to the bye week, and even though just Deshaun Watson had the bye week to heal, he hasn't practiced all this week, did not practice as recently as Thursday. And it's interesting to see how things are shaping up at the quarterback position for Cleveland. They did say that if Watson doesn't go, they're not going to start Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Instead, it'll be another quarterback, but Donovan Peoples-Jones, one of their top wide receivers, when asked, who are you going to be catching footballs from? He even said, I'm not sure who will throw me the football this week. If Watson does not play, again, it's not going to be DTR who gets the start for Cleveland. He did start against Baltimore in week 4 through 3 interceptions. He was thrown into the fire, and he drowned. P.J. Walker, longtime veteran, longtime backup, will play and start in Deshaun Watson's place if that shoulder injury doesn't allow Watson to muster up enough strength to throw the football. What's interesting about Watson here is that he was medically cleared going into week 4. He pulled himself out, and here we are 2 weeks later, he still might not play. He isn't the same guy that he was in Houston. And I think a big part of that, everything that he dealt with, time away from football, it looks as though he's processing really slow, and the numbers because of that are not that great. Completion percentage, under 64%. He's only thrown for 678 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. But Deshaun Watson, a much larger upgrade as compared to a P.J. Walker or a Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So if he's on the field, just a bigger threat for this Niners defense. Who are you going with in this game? I'll reveal my score prediction a little bit later on. SF for the Niners, CLE for the Cleveland Browns. Predict who you think is going to be victorious come Sunday, and we'll break it all down on our watch party. Next up, let's shift gears to the Browns injury report. This is a team that, even though they're coming out of the bye, they are banged up at some pretty important positions. Amari Cooper's going to play. He continues to be really productive. Just didn't practice because of rest late in the week. Joe Bitonio did not practice because of his knee injury. Myles Garrett did not practice because of a foot injury where he had to leave the stadium 2 weeks ago in a walking boot. David Njoku did not practice because of face and hand injuries that he suffered at a fire at his house. A really scary incident. He shared those pictures, and thankfully he didn't get more hurt than he actually is, but kind of gruesome, honestly, and props to him for playing 2 weeks ago. Deshaun Watson with the aforementioned right shoulder injury. Jerome Ford, limited participant because of a knee. Ethan Posick chest, knee, and foot. Limited participant as these offensive line are just gritty and tough dudes. And the Browns coming off a bye week, but still banged up as I noted. On the Niners injury report, some good news here. A late change to the injury report on Thursday. Elijah Mitchell did end up practicing, trying to come off that knee injury. He's just been injured so much. But Dre Greenlaw because of rest, George Kittle because of veteran maintenance, Trent Williams because of load management. They did not practice late in the week. Aaron Banks, limited participant because of a shoulder injury. This Cleveland Browns defense, as we're about to discuss, is really, really good. So if the Niners are not at 100% along that offensive line, and they won't be without Aaron Banks, that could be a miss. But limited participant, maybe he's trending in a good direction. At least it's not that biceps injury, which the Niners originally thought it was. I want to spend a few moments talking about San Francisco's injury luck. Are the 49ers finally getting some injury luck on their side? Ever since Kyle Shanahan was hired to be the Niners head coach in 2017, San Francisco has been top 10 in injury rate, meaning they've been a top 10 injured team every year that he's been the head coach of this football team. Now, that hasn't kept the Niners from having a lot of success. They've made it to 3 NFC Championship games in the last 4 years, including a Super Bowl appearance back in 2019. But the Niners up to this point have been a very healthy team. And if that continues, we might finally get to see what a near 100% San Francisco roster can look like, play like, perform like under head coach Kyle Shanahan, which is a really scary thought because right now things are clicking and the Niners look to be the best all-around team in football. If you downloaded the Game Time app, I'm calling all the real ones here. I want to hear from you down in the comment section here. The growth of this channel has been insane. When I took over, started covering this team prior to the 2021 season here on the 49ers Report, we had about 30,000 subscribers. We are now closing in on 100,000. When we get there, YouTube is going to send us that silver plaque, which is basically making it to the Hall of Fame of YouTube. And as we've continued to grow, we've brought on some tremendous sponsors here on the show. That includes Game Time, the only app that you should be using to purchase last-minute tickets to a sporting event, concert, comedy show, and a whole lot more. And here's a great deal for all of you out there. If you use the code NinersChat, you get $20 off your purchase. And during our watch party on Sunday, I hope that you tune in because we'll be doing a $50 Game Time raffle. $50 free to whoever downloads these steps. Get ahead of the game right now. Download the Game Time app. Trace, if we could go back to that. And when you download the Game Time app, open the redeem code screen, redeem 49ers chat for $20 off. Screenshot that. Send it to me on Twitter or Instagram at Chase_senior. And you do that, you get entered into our raffle for $50. What is the Game Time app? Best seats, lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. And what I love about this app, it's the user interface, right? I get to see where I'm sitting at a stadium for the price point of where I'll be sitting as well. Some great home matchups for San Francisco coming up, but also some good away matchups for those of you who might want to catch a road game. Again, code NinersChat. You get $20 off your purchase if you download the Game Time app. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. We continue to move forward with our Week 6 preview here. The betting odds. What type of story does the betting odds tell? San Francisco, 8.5-point favorites. Over-under at 45. I think the over-under is somewhat low because the odds makers are thinking that the Niners are going to score a lot of points, which is what they've done all year long, averaging more than 30 per. And then their defense is going to be so good with some question marks on that Browns team that brings down the over-under because you don't have two teams scoring a lot. The Niners here, 8.5-point favorites. That's more than a touchdown in a league in which a majority of the games are decided by one score or less. The Browns, up to this point, started the season with a bang. Really good win over an injured Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals at home, 24-3. Week after that, lost yet again to the Pittsburgh Steelers as their divisional opponent continues to own them 26-22 in a game in which the Browns choked away. They come back and respond in Week 3, dominant fashion, 27-3 over the Tennessee Titans. Week 4, a loss against the Baltimore Ravens. So Cleveland right now sitting at 2-2. The Niners, on the other hand, 5-0. Whoa. Open up the 2023 campaign, 30-7 win on the road against the Steelers. They piggyback that 30-23 win against the Los Angeles Rams. They come home in week 3 for their home opener. They dump truck the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football, 30-12. And then the following week, they dispatch the Cardinals 35-16. And how about them Cowboys? Talking all that smack in the lead up, and they got smacked at Dallas 42-10. San Francisco. How the Niners are faring right now. Best all-around team in football. Frankly, I don't think it's all too particularly close. I think the top 2 teams in the NFL both reside in the NFC. It's Niners number 1, Eagles number 2. I think San Francisco right now, the better all-around team on the offensive end. Number 2 in points per game at 33. Number 3 in yards per game at 402.6. That's behind the Dolphins and Philly. 6.3 yards per play. That's number 2, so they've been really explosive. Number 5 in third down percentage at 48+. That's a credit to Brock Purdy and his quick decision-making. And then they've been scoring 4 touchdowns per game. That's 28 points just via touchdowns. That's good at number 2 in the NFL. Their defense, now that they just throttled the Dallas Cowboys, who entered last week giving up just more than 10, the Niners, the number 1 defense, because they're only surrendering 13.5 yards per game at number 3, yards per play at number 3, third down percentage, middle of the pack. It could get better there at number 16, but I think a big reason why the Niners have given up some third downs and why teams have capitalized in the red zone, the Niners have been up so much and teams are picking up yards in garbage time. And then touchdowns per game, only 1.5 touchdowns. That's number 3 in the National Football League. That will allow you to win a lot of games in this league. That's how San Francisco is faring. How about their opponent, the Cleveland Browns? Kevin Stefanski, known as an offensive mind, but because Deshaun Watson continues to kind of stink, number 23 in points per game with only 19, 21 in yards per game, 30th in yards per play, 13th in third down percentage, and then touchdowns per game, number 25. Their defense, though, and this kind of segues us into how we're going to round out our preview, this defense. They hired Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. It is a very, very good unit. They can rush the passer. They're athletic on the outside, led by cornerback Denzel Ward. Pretty good at safety. Number 2 in points per game at only 15 surrendered per matchup. Number 1 in yards per game at less than 200. Number 1 in yards per play. And number 25, third down percentage, and then touchdowns per game, number 8. So this Cleveland Browns defense can bring it, and Brock Purdy will be tested. With that, predict the score. What do you think the score is going to be between the Niners and the Browns? Could San Francisco score 30 points or more again? They've done that every game this season. Or in Cleveland, could be an ugly game. Will it be a lower scoring matchup? You let me know. This is what I think. I think San Francisco puts 30 points on the board once again. I think the fact that the Browns are a little bit injured does help out and benefit the Niners here. I think they're right on that 30-point mark. And they give up 17 points with the touchdown coming in garbage time when the starters are out. Niners once again cruise 30-17. My keys to the game. I've been honing in on this all year, and I've been saying it all year. Great teams do not have letdown games. Great teams do not have trap games. Dallas Cowboys can go on the road to lose to the Arizona Cardinals. The San Francisco 49ers cannot go on the road and lose to the Cleveland Browns, a team that they are far superior than. So no letdown in this game. Do not sleepwalk through it and continue to stack up dubs because this NFC race right now with Philadelphia also being undefeated and also this divisional race with Seattle only with 1 loss is very, very close right now. Key to the game number 2, punish the opposing quarterback, whoever it's going to be as we're recording this on Thursday. I don't think it's going to be Deshaun Watson. I think it's going to be P.J. Walker. And I think that the Cleveland Browns don't want to put out rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson against this defense because they know how he fared against the Ravens 2 weeks ago, throwing 3 picks. How's it going to fare against the Niners? And will he just lose all of his confidence if he has another bad game, punish the opposing quarterback, and take their soul? Number 3, it's going to be a tall test for this Niners offense. Jim Schwartz is a very good defensive coordinator. You make your money as a DC in games like this. The offense for Cleveland might not put up any points, but the defensive coordinator will get a lot of credit if he finds a way to stymie this Niners offense that nobody's been able to stop this year. Number 4, do not get sloppy with the ball. The only way that the Niners lose is if they get sloppy. They're very clean as far as turnovers and penalties go at home. But last year, even going into this year, and getting penalized, they're a little bit sloppy on that area. So don't get sloppy with the ball. Don't get sloppy with penalties. Those are things that can cost you if this game gets ugly and this game gets close. And then lastly, get out of there healthy. Christian McCaffrey was getting beat up against the Dallas Cowboys. It looked as though Dallas was headhunting. Kyle Shanahan even said the teams are desperate to try to bring him down because nobody's been able to bring him down this year. Mix in Jordan Mason. I even think that he can make this offense better, as we saw against Dallas, with just the change of pace and the physicality that he brings to that running back position. And against the Browns, just get out of there healthy so that you can continue this momentous season where it feels as though right now everything is kind of going the Niners' way, and hopefully it continues to be magical for this football club. If you think San Francisco will beat the Cleveland Browns, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. How many people think that the Niners are going to be victorious in this game? You show me by liking the video. As always, appreciate everybody for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe.